What's up, guys? Welcome to the Bladed Wedge Show. It's July 13th, 2020. We're just guys who love watching golf, talking golf, and most importantly, playing golf. If you don't yet, follow us on Twitch and Instagram. That's the best way to keep up with what we're doing. I'm Trey Pizzetti, and I'm here with my good friend Alex Chaco. How you doing, man?
Good. Played some golf this weekend, right?
Yeah. I'm back up in Traverse City, Michigan. Went down to Arcadia Bluffs, which is my favorite course in this area, and honestly to play around the world. So if you are in the Northern Michigan area or in Michigan in general, definitely make the trip up there. It's a little pricey, but if you've never played it, it's definitely worth the price of admission. And if you do go Twilight, it makes it a lot more reasonable. So definitely check that out if you're in Michigan. How's Jersey Shore treating you?
Good, man. Just another weekend down the beach. Honestly, I have to start playing some golf down there. Been definitely lacking on the golf. You've been playing a lot more golf than I have this summer, but no, all is good.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like I'll be down there second week of August, so pretty excited about that one. Maybe you and I will hit the links Friday or Sunday or something like that. But we definitely need to get you out playing again.
Well, dude, there's a couple courses that we are definitely play like Sunday afternoon. Yeah, we can get on to. We have to play golf down.
Yeah, we will.
Like not accepting that.
Awesome. So today we got a huge Bladed Wedge tee sheet. There's a lot of things going on in the world of golf. So we're going to start out with some big storylines, head into the Workday Charity Open recap, and then preview the Memorial. So kicking off, kind of the biggest story that you and I were talking about is the Tony Finau 59. Obviously ridiculous to casually shoot a 59 like he did and then just post it to his Instagram story. But what were your thoughts when you saw that?
It was so casual. Like, he was just putting up random videos of him, like, striping driver. The course he played looked sick.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I was watching the Insta story video go through, and I was, like, honestly just speechless about, like, some of the shots he was hitting.
Yeah, insane. And then kind of going off that as well, there was the video that we've all been waiting for, which is a Tony Finau full swing driver. And I think he had ball speed over 200, which is absolutely ridiculous. But it looks so weird to watch him swing past, his normal, very short backswing.
Yeah, he does not take the club far back at all, but he just rips the ball.
Absolutely smokes it. And when he swung that far back, like, I just couldn't get used to it. But he was hitting it even harder. I'm sure he just can't control it.
Yeah, and I like didn't see it at first, and then like a bunch of my buddies in our group chat like started like DMing me like, "Yo, are you like watching this?" I was like, "Holy crap!" It was insane.
It was insane. So definitely awesome. Excited to watch him compete. I think he's in the field this week, but I'd have to double check that. Next up, the Ryder Cup got pushed to next year. We have been talking about this for a while, including Rory's comments about not having fans and how that would kind of take away from the atmosphere. I think this is the right thing to do, but it's definitely disappointing.
Yeah, I think it is the right thing to do, but I guess that is what the Ryder Cup's for. It's meant for that stadium type atmosphere, and having the fans there is a critical piece to it. So, I mean, I respect the decision. I'm not like super bummed out about it. Like, it sucks that it gets pushed back another year, but I'd rather get pushed back another year than have it be fanless, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. The fanless, never really made sense, and the added component of having an international team having to come over and play here with international travel and the possibility of spreading COVID. It just wouldn't have worked out how they wanted it to, and hopefully a year from now we'll be able to play, a full tournament with full fans and really have the experience that we are looking for. And I really hope that it stays at Whistling Straits because it's a sick course.
Yeah, that phenomenal course for a Ryder Cup. Yeah. That's what I was honestly more bummed out about, is not having it. Like, if they move it to another course or have it at like whatever the next course would be in like their rotation, then I would be pretty bummed out about that.
Same with me. I think they're planning on keeping it the same, and I really hope that they do, because it'll be great to watch Whistling Straits on TV and see how beautiful it is.
Oh, 100%.
And then Brooks, did you see Brooks tweet at Bryson? He tweeted the Kenny Powers scene from Eastbound and Down where he's accused of steroids and then goes after the cameraman. Brooks is kind of known for having some tweets and taking shots at guys like this, but I think this might be his best work.
So much content behind that tweet. It was just like such a simple video, but had such a huge impact on the entire internet. It was just perfect. It was the perfect timing. It was the perfect, like, Brooks is 100% the guy to do it. Like, definitely just like joking around. Like, I don't think it was anything like harmful. But yeah, it was fantastic.
I totally agree on that. I mean, he's just messing with them. I think, there's a lot of people talking about, hey, did he do steroids? Like, he gained a lot of weight really quickly. And I think Brooks is just, adding a little fuel to the fire, like making a joke, like poking fun at him. And there's people calling for him to get fined or suspended because of that tweet. And I was just like, come on. Like, if you're going to start doing this, you're just being like stuck up, like snotty, old golf fans.
Yeah, you're taking it way too seriously. And Brooks gassed Bryson up like a couple weeks ago, where he said like, yeah, he got in there, he got in the gym, like he did his work, and it's like paying off. So, yeah, I mean, to try and say that he should get like suspended or fined is just ridiculous.
Absolutely, and it's going to be great to see him. Potentially them play together, either just in a normal round, or if it would be amazing to watch them on a Sunday, like battling it out, or like at a major or something. And not that it would be like contentious or anything like that, but these guys are ultra competitive, and just adding just a little bit of bulletin board material out there would be fun to watch.
Yeah, fantastic. That would be a dream final pairing in any major.
Especially with Bryson and hitting bombs and watching how that's going to translate to a major, because I keep going back and forth on whether what Bryson is doing will work in the majors, or if he's going to be punished a little bit more by some of the longer drives. So that's going to be something I'm watching out for as well.
I'm thinking the same thing, but I feel like at the end of the day, it's going to be such an advantage to him. Like, just being able to go out there and hit the ball that far, like, it's going to be huge.
Totally agreed. And if he can keep the accuracy up as well as good as he has been, then I'm on your side. If it does start losing a little bit, he will be punished more in a major championship than in a regular tour event, and especially the Detroit Country Club, which is where he won last week.
Well, and the hardest part about it is, like, swinging the golf club that hard and being accurate is like impossible. Mm-hmm. Like, that's so hard to do on like consistent basis that if he can continue to keep it up, like, I mean, it'll change golf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be awesome to see. It'll be, like we've said in the past, it'll be interesting to see if anyone else tries to do that. It'll be interesting to see if his putting continues to improve, and if he can dial in some of his wedges. I read an article today talking about how he uses the same length for every club, and how that could be potentially hurting him on his wedge game. Just not as much feel or control, but I could see him making a change there and switching it up and having some shorter wedges. But just some interesting points there. Moving on, we had the Workday Charity Open this weekend at Muirfield Village in Dublin, Ohio. Wasn't the strongest field out there on the PGA Tour, but there's a lot of really good players in the mix, and watching some young guys play well is always great. Just the first thing that we'll start off with is Brooks on Friday. Had kind of an up and down first round and kind of a up and down first half of his second round, and then out of his last 7 holes, he made 5 birdies. And so he missed the cut by 1, I think it was, or he was out by 1 at the time, and he wasn't originally supposed to commit to next week at the Memorial, but he just automatically committed after that. He's like, yo, I'm hot. And I just think it's the funniest thing, because it's like, it's such a move that we would do. It's like, oh, I birdied 18, or like I hit a great drive on 18. I'm like, oh, I'm ready to play tomorrow. Like, let's go.
Yeah, and he was like pissed at himself too, because he probably is like, I could have played so much better this week. Like, there's no way I'm like not playing next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be great that he's committing. The main thing we have to talk about in the Workday Charity Open is JT versus Colin Marikawa. Absolute epic battle. JT started out 3 strokes up at the start of the day, and then lost the lead, and then got another 3-stroke lead. And I think Colin Marikawa was down 3 with 4 holes left, and ended up coming back to tie it. And then a 3-hole playoff later came out as the champion. What were your biggest takeaways of the battle between those 2 players, and then obviously how well Colin Marikawa played coming down the stretch?
Yeah, Morikawa, he's the real deal. Like, he's nasty. I thought the playoff was awesome. The one thing I will say, though, is, like, during the playoff when they had that, like, 1-2 punch where JT made that, like, ridiculous 50-footer. It had, like, 10 feet of break, like, downhill, like, crazy that he rolled that in. When he made that putt, that's, like, the type of scenario where, with no fans, it's kind of, like, lackluster.
Oh, 100%.
He just heard, like, Jim Nantz going crazy, and then, like, JT, like, screaming, but that was, like, it. And that was, like, soft claps, where if there was, like, an arena, like, a stadium-type feel, that would have been electric.
I was freaking out watching it.
Yeah. It was nuts.
Yeah. And then the other thing there was, JT played really well the whole time. I actually thought it was going to be over when JT made that putt. But Colin Marikawa had another little putt that he almost lipped out or missed. And after watching the video a couple times, I have no idea how it dropped.
Yeah, and he said that he had that putt during regulation, where he had, like, a similar putt.
Uh-huh.
So he, like, kind of knew it was going to go a little right on him. But no, I mean, step up to the plate. That putt has to go in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. So that was awesome. It was interesting to watch. He was just drinking a milkshake after with the trophy. I was like, how could this guy be any more likable? Like, that was the funniest thing. And he is an absolute monster. I saw the stats were going around. More wins than missed cuts. And the only other guy to do that was Tiger. And then, of course, everyone on Twitter is like, well, Tiger had more major wins than missed cuts for a while. He's obviously not going to be Tiger, but this guy's a stud, and he's going to be around. He hits irons like no one else on the PGA Tour right now.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's young, too. Isn't he, like, 21?
Yeah, I think he's a little older than 21. I want to say 23, but still very young.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So moving on, we have July 16th, so Thursday through Sunday, we have the Memorial Tournament at Muirfield Village again. So this is a back-to-back at the same golf course. It's going to be very interesting to watch the course and when the condition it's in. I know they are going to roll the greens to make them a little bit faster. I know a lot of players were complaining about that for the Workday Charity Open. They weren't as fast as normal, so that'll be good to watch. And the big storyline that everyone's talking about and we're all excited for is Tiger is officially back.
I mean, it's about damn time.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been sitting on his butt probably for the last couple weeks, like, not playing in these events. Like, I get it. Like, this is Jack's event. Like, there's a lot of, like, could, potentially be, like, I wouldn't say a fifth major, but, it's one of the more premier PGA Tour events and stops every year. So it's definitely going to be nice to see him back. And I'm hyped to see this tournament because it's always a good finish.
Yeah, and a place where Tiger has won a lot before. And so he's 2,500 plus 2,500 on his odds. The favorite this week is actually Bryson coming back. And, obviously that's a combination of his play as well as his popularity that makes him the favorite. But, it's him, then JT, then Rory. So still pretty crazy that he is the favorite.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to play well. I bet he, just makes the cut, maybe shoots, a couple under. I just think he played so well in the match, back when he did that thing with when he did the charity thing, that to take time off was just, I think, a little strange. But, hopefully he comes out and plays well. I don't think he'll make much noise this week. Yeah,
I'm not sure Tiger will make much noise either. Obviously, this is a course he's very familiar with. I think he'll play pretty well. I don't think he's missing the cut, but I'm not expecting him to come off. And this is kind of a theme that we've talked about a lot on this show is, you have to play and get in these competitive moments and get used to those juices again. And then once you do that or play 1 or 2, 3 rounds, then you kind of can get back into the groove.
Yep, definitely.
Awesome. Before we get to the interview, we are still looking for help. So if you want to be our third, help us out on social or video editing, shoot us an email, bladedwedge@gmail.com. Again, make sure to follow us. And then reminder, we will be on next week at 8 p.m. So check us out then. To finish today's episode, we are going to be playing our interview with George Bryant from the Bryant Bros. Great college golfer, played on the mini tours, and continues to play in tournaments from now and then, but has really shifted his focus to video producing content on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Super interesting interview about how him and his brother Wesley, who plays on the PGA Tour, grew up together, as well as their dad being a pro. So Chuck and I learned a lot. Very interesting and a great guy. We'll probably have on again if he wants to, because it was an awesome interview and we really enjoyed it. So have a great week, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Later.
What's up, guys? Today we have George Bryant, professional golfer, as well as half of Bryant Bros Golf. Super excited to have him on. Checo and I are big fans, following him on our personal Instagram accounts for a long time. Really enjoying the content that they put out. How you doing, man?
Gents, good morning. Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it is a little bit early. It's 8:30 on a Monday morning, but we're up ready to get after it. And with COVID and the kind of weird hours, the normal schedule doesn't apply. So kind of segueing into that, how is COVID treating you? Where are you kind of bunkered down?
Aiken, South Carolina, and obviously down south, the golf course is never closed. And honestly, kind of transitioning to YouTube more this year, I haven't felt a huge impact where, people in the workforce or, other, PGA Tour players didn't have anything to do for 3 months. Where me, I was still shooting content, playing golf regularly. But so it's been weird because, I've not thrived or flourished, but like nothing has changed too much other than some regulations here or there. Whereas everyone else is like operating in this weird state. So it's been definitely weird, but honestly, as a golfer, not too much has changed.
I know it is awesome. Like it feels like golf is the kind of the only outlet. I'm up in New York and Checo's in Philly, so a little bit more of the epicenters. But golf has remained pretty normal. And the PGA Tour really changed, or the USGA changed the rules around the flag stick just in time. So that kind of worked out for them. So, what does your schedule look like for the rest of the year? I know that you're super into the YouTube now and have been really grinding on that and putting out you guys have really taken like the content on YouTube to the next level. So is that kind of the plan, or are you going to try to qualify for some tournaments, or where are you at?
So that's what kind of has been a blessing for me this whole kind of quarantine season, is because due to funding and expensive PGA or chasing Q school and mini tour life, like I just needed to have better funds to support my family and justify spending $5,000 at Q school. Well, they canceled Q school this year, so I was like, that leaves me with time to really grind on YouTube, try to grow it, put it in a place where next year I can focus more on professional golf and tournament golf leading up to Q school. Where this year I'm going to sprinkle in some one-day events probably later this summer. Actually maybe in a couple weeks, just to kind of get the tournament reps in to keep, the tournament golf game sharp. But yeah, honestly, just practicing golf, videoing a lot, filming, social media, keeping the game sharp. But the main focus is YouTube content, where tournament professional golf secondary, but still back there trying to keep my game sharp.
That's
now,
awesome.
I was going to say, do you find it hard when you're kind of working on your YouTube content and shooting and filming? Do you find it hard to also keep your game sharp, or like what's the balance there between doing your content and also like working on your game?
I mean, honestly, it's borderline impossible to do both well. Because 2016, when I was caddying for Wesley, and honestly, I was full-time YouTube content creator, even though I'd say I was a professional golfer. But looking back at it, 2015 and 16, focus was on that. And I played in tournaments, but you just can't do both well. And so that's why it would have been tough for me, because I would have to make a decision probably in a month or two, or no, in a month, like, hey, am I going to do Q school this year? But knowing that my golf game really isn't like tournament ready, and it would be just like weird, like, what do I do? So it really is tough. But at the same time, you are on a golf course getting reps in while filming, and it's going to keep your game sharp, but not like you're not able to like really take it to where it needs to be if you want to do both well.
So
or
yeah,
one well. Sorry.
Absolutely, and we were watching. You had kind of the 59 watch going yesterday on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, which was pretty funny and pretty cool to watch. Talk to us a little bit about obviously you're playing golf really well on a casual
Mm-hmm.
level, on a content level. What
Mm-hmm.
do you kind of focus on, or what do you have to do to get yourself ready for that tournament level golf and kind of get ready to compete?
Honestly, probably not a whole lot other than just like playing golf every day or 5 days a week. We're now like, that's the first 18-hole round I've played in like a month. That wasn't been filmed. Played some 9-hole rounds here or there. Fart around practicing, play a few holes, but like to really get your game ready and well is just you got to put the reps in playing and to like get your mind shifted from like the technical like a golf swing mentality to like playing golf and playing the game mentality. And so that just takes consistency. Where honestly, my game right now is like all the parts like they look good, the swing looks good, the putting stroke looks good, everything looks good, but like making it all work together and around is not quite there. Yesterday, obviously, I played really well. But like tomorrow, I might go out and play and it just feels awkward. But that's just because I'm not playing golf every day. I'm playing YouTube. I'm playing golf swing. So I mean, honestly, I'm probably a few weeks away from just like putting the camera down, filming like once a week, practicing and playing every day to where I'd be confident to play in tournaments.
And then also, like, obviously, like, the grinding it out is something that you're probably just kind of getting back into would take a bit, especially short game. But, one of the biggest things that looking up at your background is obviously playing at USC and being a 3-time All-American there and 3-time All-SEC, which is awesome. And one of the things that Chaco and I really have been working to explore is kind of the differences between the college game and then kind of coming in and then trying to make it on the mini tours or obviously the Corn Ferry if you can get there. But can you talk a little about the difference between playing really high level college golf and then making that transition?
So let's see. I mean, college was like 10 years ago for me, so I've got to go back in the archives. Honestly, back then, I think then the difference between PGA Tour and college level wasn't necessarily that much, but people, it's weird because I think the kids nowadays are ready to play tour level golf more so than they were back then. It's not because the skill level was any different, because when I was coming along, I was competing with some of the best players in the world right now. And so their skill hasn't changed that much. It was just like, I think the perception of like, oh man, it's the PGA Tour, where now like you have 16-year-olds, they're like almost numb to like, oh, it's just a tour event. Who cares? Like, and so I think that's the biggest thing. It's not necessarily a skill level difference. It's just like that perception of like, well, I'm in college. Well, got to make it to the PGA Tour. Now it's all like, I'm just gonna be a professional golfer and play good golf, and whatever happens, happens. But yeah, it's cool to see. And the golf is one of those kind of weird sports where like you can dominate in college, and then get out on the mini tours, kind of not get burnt out, but just like you get frustrated that you're not on the PGA Tour like you think, and you get upset, your mentality changes, and all of a sudden, you're like, crap, what am I doing? So it's definitely unique in that aspect. But yeah, the skill, I think the biggest thing, the skill level is not different from the players then to now. Maybe a little bit. I think across the board, it might be slightly better, but the high-end players are still as good as they were, now as they were then. But it's just that perception of like PGA Tour then versus now. I don't know. It's cool to see though, for sure.
Yeah, and do you think that's a lot because a lot of these guys are, even if you aren't one of the guys who get like a sponsored exemption, or you win an event and qualify to get a spot in one PGA Tour event, or you see your peers be in those events, and so it normalizes it a bit. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think that's now you're seeing that with a lot of the folks, and I think I don't know. I think back it's just more normal, like you said. Like you have these young guys that are these college kids that are playing with these PGA Tour players, when they're at home, and they're just like, wow, I'm just as good as he is. And it kind of gives them that confidence where when they do step up and play in a PGA Tour event, like, I mean, I can compete here. I'm playing with Matthew Wolff every day and beating him a handful of times, and he's a PGA Tour winner. I mean, I can do this myself, and, you can insert any name you want. And it definitely, even like for me with Wesley playing with him, our games are a little bit farther apart than they have been in the past, just given the nature. He's playing really good, and my game's kind of all over the place. But still, I'll beat him a handful of times right now, and it's just like, he's a PGA Tour winner. I can hang with him. Now I just got to get that consistency level where he has that I don't. But yeah, definitely that confidence factor of playing with PGA Tour players when you're not on the PGA Tour helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's usually winning those matches? You know, absolutely.
Well, if you've been watching YouTube videos, you know that I've not been faring too well. But I have beat him once or twice. But honestly, like we'll play. I mean, I think he's got a couple weeks off now. We'll go and play, and I'll probably beat him maybe once or twice. But like it's been weird. I think there was someone asked that in the comments or whatever, and it's like from age 2 to 25 or 2 to like 22, I was beating him probably 60% of the time. But we would go on these runs where he would beat me for a whole month, and then I would beat him for 2 months straight. It would just kind of flip-flop. But from like 22 to now, it's like been more 60-40 him. But still, it's still a toss-up every time we get out there for sure.
I'm sure it was awesome too having like him to like play with growing up and like keep have that competitive feeling and make sure that you guys are working hard together. I bet that was definitely extremely beneficial.
Yeah, I think it's an underrated key too to improving. It's having someone better or just as good to play with. So yeah, you compete, but you also can kind of learn from one another and just kind of bounce ideas off of or whatever. But I mean, the main thing is just competing with someone and playing with someone on a regular basis that's just as good or better than you to really kind of hone that competitiveness in. But it's kind of an overlooked aspect, but it's one of the huge keys to like really improving golf.
And I think I read this somewhere, but is your dad a pro as well, or a teaching pro?
Yep. Yeah, he's teaching pro. He's played in PGA Championship and he played in Harbortown. Actually, caddied for him there way back in the day. But yeah, he's a really good player. Was a really good player, when he was kind of chasing it on the club pro level. And then when we came along, he shifted the work. All he wanted to do was watch us play.
Yeah.
And so his game kind of like not deteriorated, but it's just kind of average now because he doesn't practice or play. But yeah, he's a good player, and we definitely learned a lot from him growing up.
That's really cool. And then the other kind of interesting thing I saw when I was really digging your background is you made a big break appearance, didn't you?
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it was like that was probably the worst I've ever been playing in my life because it was we filmed it in 2014, and I had just run out of money to playing professional golf like probably in March or April. And so then the Bryan Bros thing started up. So like it was just like, well, got nothing else to do. Let's grind on this. And so my game was nowhere in like any kind of competitive shape. Mm-hmm. And then you go onto this show where it's just the most nervous I've ever been. You're in front of a TV camera. You're not playing good, and you're like, if I miss this shot, like I can't get a mulligan. I can't like go and hit the next shot to like recover. It's just like the nerves were insane. And so like I looked like an idiot. And it was I mean, honestly, I watched the show growing up. One of the coolest things ever is to be a part of it because you grew up watching the show and now you're on it. But I just wish my golf game was actually like kind of respectable so I could like feel like I belonged. But man, it was weird, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Kind of seeing how the show works.
Yeah, I'm so interested in how the show works. It's something that I always watched growing up and definitely had some like dreams of being on. It was just cool how they also kind of like segmented the game to like make it more like fun for the game show. I don't know if it exactly translates to who the best golfer is all the time, but it was cool how they kind of made the quirky events to compete in. Yeah,
I agree. And honestly, Richie won. So, I mean, he was like got his tour card the next year or web card. I can't remember, but like really good player. And even most of the players on that were really good. So that one kind of shook out. Well, I think Wesley, he got eliminated on the second show or third show, whatever. But like he was playing some of the best golf he's ever played, and now he just kind of got unlucky with some of those games. But for the most part, it shook out. Like the top players really were like kind of moved on.
Because I remember, is it the big break? It's like you compete, and then and then you go, and like then you have to play like 1 versus 1 on a hole, and it's like a 1 hole or like a 3-hole stretch. And I remember being like, what, you pull one shot and you make one bogey and then that means that you have to go home? Like it's so so tense.
Yeah.
But obviously pretty cool experience. We'll have to
Absolutely.
I guess we won't dig up that footage, but we'll have to, go check it out maybe.
It was like I watched it the other day. It was fun. It was like funny to watch.
Yeah.
I had the long hair and I'm like,
well, it'll always be a good memory.
And during quarantine too, they reran like a ton of the episodes too because they needed content to try and fill space.
Yeah, I watched it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I watched it and recorded it for sure. But there was definitely go back and you'll get a good laugh out of it.
So I also know that you do a little caddying for your brother, and it sounds like you've done some caddying for your dad as well. How do you approach going and caddying for them compared to like playing yourself, or like how does that different?
For Wesley, honestly, it's really easy because like, well, if you're caddying, you got to know the person, you got to know the player, and like me as a player, I can't do what I would normally do, like because that might not work for Wesley. Now Wesley, it's one of the unique cases where you can go out and caddy for him today, and I can caddy for him where you get the greatest caddy of all time, Stevie Williams, or whoever, insert Ted Williams, Ted Scott. That they're all going to do the same for Wesley because he just needs someone to be a friend, hang out, laugh with, give him the numbers. Like, but Wesley makes all his own decisions, and like the caddy he's got right now, Willie, is perfect because he's just a normal dude. They have kind of same kind of personality type, dry humor, but Willie's great at what he does. One of the really good caddies out there. But for me, I would just go out there, try to make him laugh. If he needed to make sure I got my numbers right, and then let him do his thing. And if he does ask me, hey, what do you think? Then I can obviously use my golf knowledge, like, hey, this is what I think you should hit, or I would just go, hey, I think you should hit this yardage shot, and then he picks his club. Or if he's in between, I just kind of reaffirm with what he believes he should do, just to really give him confidence. But he's super simple. That's what makes him, I think, very unique. Is like he just wants someone there to hang out, and when he's in that kind of mindset of just a normal round of golf with the boys or with his friends, he's going to play really well. And when he gets too over analytical, like, all right, well, the wind's doing this, like, do you think I should knock down 8-iron or the stroke 7, or that's when he's kind of not going to play his best.
Very interesting. And how do your guys' games differ in that way? Are you similar in like, hey, you want to have it more of like that friendly where you're just kind of out there playing with the boys mindset, or are you more analytical than he is?
I mean, by nature, I'm going to be more analytical, which is annoying because I don't need to be. I need to be like him to compete well. Like when if I'm just playing like a normal round of golf, I'm going to play good. But it's the times or the reason I've been struggling as much, or I tend to struggle in professional golf, is I make it something that it's not. Like, oh, well, it's a tournament, I got to try harder, I got to do this, or I get nervous. And instead of just like, dude, just go out there and play golf, you hit bad shots, who cares, it's just golf. And that's what I tend to make it something that it's not, and instead of just making it fun, relaxed round of golf, I'm just hitting golf shots and trying to shoot as low as I can.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely a skill that you have to refine, is kind of trying to find that mindset that you need to be in and being able to get there to play really good golf. But moving on to the YouTube content that you have going, how kind of talk about how that really got started, and then where you are trying to push it going forward.
So obviously, actually 6 years now, we started the kind of trick shots things by accident. It grew to a lot. People kept watching the videos, and like it really grew on YouTube a lot. And I was like, man, this is kind of cool. Whatever. So we turned it into a business. Wesley gets on a tour, and then like once he got on the tour, it kind of stopped and turned into just me. And I didn't know, like, he didn't have time for it. So I'm like, well, what do I do? I'm not a trick shot guy. So then that's when I'm like, but then also that's when I started playing and focusing more on my side of golf. So was on PGA Tour Latin America, PGA Tour Canada. So I didn't really have time for the YouTube social media thing, but I just kept it up just to make sure, or just to like, if I ever needed it or wanted to go back to it, it would still be there. So I would post kind of sporadically, but I was a golfer first. Now fast forward to 2020, it's kind of shifted where I'm content creator first, but also professional golfer. And so now I'm just trying to like really grow it and kind of see where it goes and focus more on, my obviously background in golf and professional golf. I have some stuff I can offer on the like technical side or improvement side, but also I want to make fun golf videos where you can just consume and just, if you want to watch good golf and maybe have a few laughs or kind of relate to a golfer, you can watch with that aspect without wanting to like get better. So fun golf videos, challenges where I play 18 holes, try to shoot, see how low I can shoot. And then I'll kind of sprinkle in some, hey, if you want to, improve your driving, or if you want to improve your course management strategy, I'm going to offer that content as well. But really just see where that goes. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm just going to be putting content out there that hopefully people keep enjoying, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've really enjoyed your content. I think, you, Random Club Golf with Eric Lang and Riggs are really kind of pushing the envelope on that, more of that fun golf content side, right? Not everything has to be an instructional video where they're telling you where your hands should be. It's more of like, hey, I want to watch either good golfers or entertaining people play cool courses. and commentate about it. So I've really enjoyed your stuff as well as those other guys from like a consumer perspective.
Yeah, appreciate it. And it's interesting. Another thing is like with Wesley kind of being in the mix now, I think the whole reason I guess like kind of spurred me on was like during the quarantine at the beginning, he was like, dude, why aren't you using me on your channel as much? I'm like, well, I didn't think you wanted me to ask. Like, and so he's wanted to get more involved, kind of help me out, but also I think he missed kind of the fun side that that can be YouTube golf or content creation. But at the same time, there is a benefit for him kind of getting involved on the channel and getting his name out there more. And I think that's been a cool thing to see him like really embrace it a little more. To like, hey, this is part of my story. I'm not a trick shot guy anymore, but I can still do this kind of social content thing and be very relatable. And it's cool for people like you or fans of PGA Tour golf seeing a PGA Tour caliber player on YouTube that is just like a normal guy and see kind of his outlook on life, golf, and just how normal he is. Where most of the time people can say, "Oh, you're a PGA Tour player, you're different." Well, he's just a guy who plays on the PGA Tour, and we're brothers, and so that's a cool thing that people like seeing as well. So it's been really cool the last kind of 4 months, him getting involved, playing some matches, bringing like PGA Tour quality golf to YouTube.
Yes. I think that's one of the coolest things too about kind of bringing a PGA Tour player to that view, because we see it with like Justin Thomas or at the end of the day, they are PGA Tour players who are really good at golf, but they love just going out, playing, hanging with the boys, and doing stuff like that. So that's really cool to see.
Yeah.
And just kind of the last question I have before we go into the rapid fire is we've kind of gone back and forth on this, and I know it's been a topic, maybe a couple of weeks ago about miking up the players more in PGA Tour events. I obviously, you obviously have a little bit of a better insight than we do, but where do you kind of land on that argument or that debate?
Me and Wesley actually talked about it because he's all for it. Like, he's not going to change who he is. Like, he's in the last, like, honestly, the thing with him and Bubba, he would be like that if he was leading a golf tournament. And that's what people would be cool to see is like, hey, wow, this guy's actually leading a tournament. He's just asking all these dumb questions or saying all these funny things or whatever. But Wesley was like, they don't need to mic us. They just need to get like a boom mic that's like, can capture like the caddy commentary, stuff like that, where it's a little less invasive, but like at the same time, honestly, I think they should do more of it, because it is those moments. Like, I think there's been some comments where like they don't want to like what between the player and the caddy is personal or like confident or private or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but at the same time, it's like really cool for fans to see what they're talking about. Like, wow, that's what they're talking about there. They're not actually like being so serious. This is how simple it can be, or little nuggets that would be really cool to see, like the Tiger Woodses or the Justin Thomases say. But obviously, Wesley, I like watching him mic'd up because he brings a relatableness and like just a normalcy to like that the PGA Tour kind of caliber golf.
Yeah, I think like for a guy like Wesley, or if you were out there, it's like if you have a great personality and like if you're a fun guy who plays and is just interesting like that, you can really highlight that through some sort of mic, and whether it's miking up the bags or whether it's just having a better production quality with hey, having the boom mics, like there has to be some sort of trust with the people who are producing the TV stream about like hey, we're not going to highlight something bad or put you there. But there are cool conversations, like for someone like me or Checo, like we want to hear the conversations about, hey, are you going to hit a hard 7 or a knockdown 6? Like that's really interesting. So I do think there's area for improvement there.
Yeah, and if people go back, because I'm a social media guy, so I go and scour anytime Wesley or whatever, I kind of see what people are saying, or like, because in my comment sections, everyone's like, they really like and enjoy Wesley's personality and his comments, and we implemented a little Wesley cam into the carts that people in our matches really, really loved. And so like I would go back and read like when he's mic'd up and how the comments are, we love this is awesome. But Wesley cam, here's Wesley cam, yada, yada, yada. And so it's cool that people are really enjoying that side of like professional golf. And so I think there's a way that PGA Tour can definitely do this, because it's a neat, like, I mean, I'm biased towards Wesley, but you get these other players that actually have a big following, the Brysons, the Brooks Koepkas, like just to have little snippets that could be, used in some way that would that would definitely add value to golf for sure.
Yeah, and it's also like if you're good and you're a good person, like it's going to add to your brand as well. So, with that being said, let's jump into the rapid fire questions. Chuck, I'll let you take it from here.
Perfect. So let's start with number one. What's your favorite major championship?
All of them. Let's see. British Open because you can wake up early and watch golf. The Masters because it's the Masters. U.S. Open because it is a massive amount of coverage all day, every day on a brutal course. And the PGA because my dad's a club pro, and I've been there in caddy form there as well. So all of them.
I love that. Favorite club in the bag? What do you hit the best?
Probably my driver for sure.
Favorite course ever played?
Subtle flex, but Augusta National. Runner-up is St. Andrews because the home of golf ain't nothing like it. Standing there on the first tee with right there in the town, seeing like where golf was made, basically. So Augusta National, obvious number one, but close second is Old Course St. Andrews.
I can honestly say that's the best answer we've heard on our show so far.
Who did you play Augusta with?
My dad played it twice. Played my dad, my brother, and then he was the chairman at the time, Hootie Johnson, and yeah, it was pretty sweet. Although the second time I played, got absolutely smoked by my dad, my brother, and by like 75-year-old Hootie Johnson, who was riding up on the senior tees in his cart and just dropping bombs. I'm like, God, this is awful. Like, I'm out here just getting run over by everyone. And I'm supposed to be having a fun time at Augusta, and I'm shooting like 85. But yeah, it was awesome day. It was very interesting. But yeah, it was unbelievable.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. And then lowest round ever. Was it the 60 yesterday?
Shot 59 twice. One at the course, that little short course I play that I did shoot 60 at yesterday. And then a 59 on a real par 72 at Northwoods a few years back. And lowest in a tournament is 63.
Wow.
So.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. This has been great. We definitely would love to do it again in the future, but good luck on the YouTube content. Tell Wesley we said good luck this year, and we'll keep following you closely.
Yeah, appreciate it. And tag and share. I'll share this whenever it goes live or whenever it finishes. I'll be sure to give it some love. So just let me know how I can help, and appreciate you guys for having me on.
Awesome. Thanks, man.